Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a bright and sunshiny day. Hey, guys, um, we had a lot of stuff to read today. Thank God I did not do this all at once. I mean, someday I'm gonna just do it and I won't even care how long it takes me to do everything. If I had to start like before 7 and do a whole thing because this one's long. You want to see how many passages? That's all for this one topic. Law that highlights just judicial mercy in fair treatment. Yeah, it's a long one. It's ridiculous. Oh, I tried to say the word oh my gosh. Judicial. I couldn't say it. So I had to look it up to actually pronounce it. Judicial. So, you know how I said I was going to read a lot of the stuff? Well, since it's so long, you know I don't do well. Okay? So I'm going to let the little man inside read it. But the passages, if I can handle them, I will read it. There's Leviticus chapter 18. We have to read the whole thing. I just realized something. How many Leviticus do we have? That's chapter 6. Because, really? That's all? Because one time I was doing all this, some readings, and it said different passages, and then at the end it says read this whole chapter. So we read all the passages, and someone brought it up to me and says, "Do you know it? You just read that chapter twice." I'm like, "Well, why did they have you do that?" Because I did more than one in a row. Because I was behind. Because I wrote it all down, but I was sick, so you can be able to understand me. So they says just cancel today. Say the, we said the prayer, and what is it? The verse of the day, and we listened to chapter, and then my voice went, "Love, don't judge, peace out." So my voice sounded like that, but more raspy. And it says now go take a rest until you're alive later. I really, it hurts to even talk. I took my medicine, and then I was like, ugh. So, so let's get started. So, our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come soon. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today the food we need, and forgive us our sins as we have forgiven those who sin against us. And don't let us yield to temptation, but rescue us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you, Jehovah, for another beautiful day on your beautiful earth, and thank you for allowing us to wake up today. I'm so appreciative of everything you have done for everybody me. What you did for us. Yes, the past, present, and what you will do for us in the future. Please keep Sharon Doherty's family in your thoughts while they figure out about her funeral and stuff. Give them mental and physical strength to get through it all. And continue to help Tate, who has cancer and a heart condition. Cindy Lee, Lisa, rest in peace, Shannon Doherty. King Charles, Princess Kate, Jen's friend Shannon, Isabella Strahan, who has cancer. They all have cancer. Please help them, give them all physical, mental strength to fight their diseases off. Give Celine Dion physical, mental strength to get through the pain of her stiff person syndrome. Jenny, Christina, Tiffany, Robin Taylor, Miss Diane, and daughters all have mental issues and medical needs. Please help them with them all. Arnie, Vicky and family, Carol and mom, please help them and help Carol's tummy to be better because she's having some pain there. And please help them all and the people that's watching. And in Jesus' name, amen. So, remember last time, did we do both? I think we might. No. I think we did both of those together because the first one was really small. Oh yeah, so we did these two together. Then I noticed this was really long, so I went, that's just gonna be one. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was longer. 12 is it. And then this is ours right here. Oh no, I just realized what I have to do. Oh. I gotta get it to the speaker to get to this point. I'll get it. I'm gonna mute it until it comes up, and I'll be right back. I got it. So you ready? Okay, law that highlights judicial. Forget it.
Laws that highlight judicial mercy and fair treatment. Paragraphs 13 and 14. Question: how did the law promote the fair and just treatment of a thief and his victim? Was the Mosaic Law a rigid, unmerciful body of rules? Far from it. King David was inspired to write, "The law of Jehovah is perfect." Psalm 19:7. As he well knew, the law promoted mercy and fair treatment. How did it do so? In some lands today, the law seems to show more leniency and favor to the criminals than it does concern for the victims. For instance, thieves may spend time in prison. Meanwhile, the victims may still be without their goods, yet they have to pay the taxes that house and feed such criminals. In ancient Israel, there were no prisons as we know them today. There were strict limits regarding the severity of punishments. A thief had to compensate the victim for what had been stolen. In addition, the thief had to make further payment. How much? It varied. Evidently, the judges were given latitude to weigh a number of factors, such as the sinner's repentance. That would explain why the compensation required from a thief, according to Leviticus 6, 1 through 7, is far less than that specified at Exodus 22:7.
Sorry.
Paragraph 15. Question: how did the law ensure both mercy and justice in the case of one who killed a person by accident? The law mercifully acknowledged that not all wrongs are deliberate. For example, when a man killed someone by accident, he did not have to pay soul for soul, fleeing to one of the cities of refuge scattered throughout Israel. After qualified judges examined his case, he had to reside in the city of refuge until the death of the high priest. Then he would be free to live wherever he chose. Thus, he benefited from divine mercy. At the same time, this law emphasized the great value of human life. Paragraph 16. Question: how did the law safeguard certain personal rights? The law safeguarded personal rights. Consider the ways in which it protected those in debt. The law forbade entry into a debtor's home to seize property as security for a loan. Rather, a creditor had to remain outside and allow the debtor to bring the security to him. Thus, a man's home was held inviolate. If the creditor took the debtor's outer garment as a pledge, he had to return it by nightfall, for the debtor likely needed it to keep warm at night. Paragraphs 17 and 18.
I am so sorry. Oh.
In matters involving warfare,
no.
how were the Israelites different from other nations, and
Sorry.
why? Even warfare was regulated under the law. God's people were to wage war not to satisfy a mere lust for power or conquest, but to act as God's agents in wars of Jehovah. In many cases, the Israelites had to offer terms of surrender first. If a city rejected the offer, then Israel could besiege it, but according to God's rules. Unlike many soldiers throughout history, men in Israel's army were not allowed to rape women or engage in wanton slaughter. They were even to respect the environment, not felling the enemy's fruit trees. Other armies had no such restrictions. The footnote reads, the law pointedly asked, "Is the tree of the field a man to be besieged by you?" Deuteronomy 20:19. Philo, a Jewish scholar of the 1st century, cited this law, explaining that God thinks it unjust that the anger which is excited against men should wreak itself on things which are innocent of all evil. End of footnote. Do you shudder to hear that in some lands mere children are being trained as soldiers? In ancient Israel, no man under 20 years of age was inducted into the army. Even an adult male was exempt if he suffered from due fear. A newly married man was exempt for a full year, so that before embarking upon such hazardous service, he might see an heir born. In this way, the law explained, the young husband would be able to make his new wife rejoice. Paragraph 19. Question. What provisions did the law include for the protection of women, children, families, widows, and orphans? The law also protected women, children, and families, providing for them. It commanded parents to give their children constant attention and instruction in spiritual things. It forbade all forms of incest under penalty of death. It likewise forbade adultery, which so often breaks up families and destroys their security and dignity. The law provided for widows and orphans, and in the strongest possible terms forbade the mistreatment of them. Paragraphs 20 and 21. Question A. Why did the Mosaic Law allow for polygamy among the Israelites? Question B. In the matter of divorce, why did the law differ from the standard that Jesus later restored? In this connection, however, some might wonder, why did the law allow for polygamy? We need to consider such laws within the context of the times. Those who judge the Mosaic Law from the perspective of modern times and cultures are bound to misunderstand it. Jehovah's standard, set way back in Eden, made marriage a lasting union between one husband and one wife. By the time Jehovah gave the law to Israel, however, such practices as polygamy had been entrenched for centuries. Jehovah well knew that his stiff-necked people would frequently fail to obey even the most basic commands, such as forbidding idolatry.
Sorry about that.
Wisely then, he did not choose that era as the time to reform all of their marital practices. Keep in mind, though, that Jehovah did not institute polygamy. He did, however, use the Mosaic Law to regulate polygamy among his people and to prevent abuses of the practice. Similarly, the Mosaic Law allowed a man to divorce his wife on a relatively broad range of serious grounds. Jesus called this a concession that God had made to the Jewish people out of regard for their hard-heartedness. However, such concessions were temporary. For his followers, Jesus restored Jehovah's original standard for marriage. Matthew 19:8. The law promoted love.
No.
Paragraph.
I didn't realize we're so. Oh, wow. We're doing the law promoted love. That's the last one. See? And that's short. And this is all the stuff at the end. So now, hold on. There we go. Let's take a breather, okay? Because we got a lot to cover here. Yeah, let's just wait and think about what we read. Okay. I will get going now because I don't want to do this until 10. Oh, one time my devotions ended at 10 because I chose to do everything. I'm like, never again. But it felt good to do everything though. I also didn't get up at 7 that day. Okay, so Oh, where am I? Am I lost? Here we go. Jeez. Why did it do that? For Psalms chapter 19, verse 7. The law of Jehovah is perfect, restoring strength. The, the reminder of Jehovah trustworthy, making the inexperienced one wise. The next one is, we got so many of these. I didn't realize it until I was writing them down on my, oh my gosh, there's a lot. This is going to be one great devotion. Deuteronomy chapter 25, 1 through 3. When a dispute arises between men, they may present themselves before the judges, and they will judge them and pronounce the righteous one innocent and the wicked one guilty. If the wicked one deserves to be beaten, the judge will have him lie down prostrate. Lie down prostrate? Will be beaten in his presence. The number of strokes should correspond to the wickedness of his deed. He may beat him with up to 40 strokes, but no more. If he would continue beating him with more strokes than this, your brother would be disgraced before you. Wow. Even to this day, some countries still, if you do something against the law or something, it's very, to us, it's very minor things, but to them, they want to keep everything good. Like this one country, this guy was there, just on vacation or something like that. I think he was chewing gum, and he did something very minor. I can't, had something to do with that. He got whipped, and he was in jail. So they're kind of harsh with their laws. I think that's a little excessive. Leviticus chapter 6, 1 through 7. Jehovah went on to say to Moses, if someone sins and behaves unfaithfully toward Jehovah by deceiving his neighbor in connection with something entrusted to him or something deposited with him, or he robs or defrauds his neighbor, or he finds something lost and is deceptive about it. And if he swears falsely over any such sin he may commit, this is what he should do. If he has sinned and is guilty, he must return what he stole, what he extorted, what he took by fraud, what was entrusted to him, or the lost thing that he found, or anything about which he swore falsely, and he must make full I know this word. I just need help. Oh shoot! What I just did. Compensation. Compensation. I have no idea. Oh yeah. Oh, good, it's still there. Make full. I know what it means. I just compenses. I feel stupid. Is there anybody here that can actually send me a private message how to say that word? Please. There's one person watching. Compensation. Compensation for it. And he will add to it. Sorry, I'm starting over. Jehovah went on to say to Moses, if someone's, oh no, I'm not going to read all that all over again. Where's that word? Let's start from 5. Or anything about which he swore falsely, and he must make full compensation for it. And he will add to it 1/5 of the value. He will give it to the owner on the day his guilt is proved. Yeah, let's just read this over because it's all over the place. Jehovah went on to say to Moses, if someone sins and behaves unfaithfully toward Jehovah by deceiving his neighbor in connection with something entrusted to him or something deposited with him, or he robs or defrauds his neighbor, or he finds something lost and is deceptive about it, and if he swears falsely over any such sin he may commit, this is what he should do. If he has sinned and is guilty, he must return what he stole, what he extorted, what he took by fraud, what was entrusted to him, or the lost thing he found, or anything about which he swore falsely, and he must make full compensation for it, and he will add to it a fifth of its worth. He will give it to the his guilt is proved, and he will bring to the priest as his guilt offering to Jehovah a sound ram from the flock according to the assessed value for a guilt offering. The priest will make atonement for him before Jehovah, and he will be forever for anything he may have done resulting in his guilt. I'm sorry, I get frustrated when I can't pronounce a word. I get tongue-tied. Exodus chapter 22, verse 7. If a man gives his fellow man money or articles to keep, and these are stolen from the fellow man's house, if the thief is found, he must make double compensation. See, I can get that word out. Numbers chapter 15 verses 30 and 31. But the person who does something deliberately, whether he is native born or a foreign resident, is blaspheming Jehovah and must be cut off from among his people, because he has despised Jehovah's word and broken his commandment. That person should be cut off without fail. His own error is upon him. This is chapter 35, verses 12 through 25. The cities will serve as a refuge for you from the blood avenger, so that the manslayer will not die until he stands trial before the assembly. The 6 cities of refuge that you provide will serve the purpose. You will provide 3 cities on the side of the Jordan and 3 cities in the land of Canaan to serve as cities of refuge. These 6 cities will serve as a refuge for the Israelites, for the foreign student, and for the settler among them, for anyone to flee there who unintentionally kills someone. But if he struck him with an iron instrument and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer should be put to death without fail. And if he struck him with a stone that could cause death and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer should be put to death without fail. And if he struck him with a wooden instrument that could cause death and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer should be put to death without fail. The avenger of blood is the one who will put the murderer to death. When he encounters him, he himself will put him to death. If death resulted because he pushed him out of hatred or threw something at him with malicious intent, or out of hatred, out of hatred, he struck him with his hand, and he dies. The one who struck him will be put to death without fail. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood will put the murderer to death when he encounters him. But if it was unexpectedly and not out of hatred that he pushed him or threw any article at him without malicious intent, or or if he did not see him and caused the stone to fall on him, and he was not an enemy or seeking his injury, and the person died, the assembly should then judge between the one who struck him and the avenger of blood. In harmony with this judgment, the assembly should then save the manslayer from the hand of the avenger of blood and return him to his city of refuge to which he had fled, and he must dwell in it until the death of the high priest who was anointed with the holy oil. Wow, I got through that. It wasn't that hard, actually. Yes, a rest my eyes. Oh. Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 10 through 14. You have a lot of Deuteronomies. If you make any sort of loan to your neighbor, you must not enter into his house to seize from him what he has offered as security. You should stand outside, and the man who received the loan should bring outside to you what he is giving you as security. And if the man is in need, you must not go to bed with what he gave as security still in your possession. You should by all means return to him what he has given as security as soon as the sun sets, and he will go to bed with his garment, and he will bless you, and it will mean righteousness for you before Jehovah your God. You must not defraud a hired worker who is in need and poor, whether one of your brothers or a foreign resident in your land within your cities. There's a lot to read. Not even halfway. Numbers chapter 21, verse 14. That is why the book of the wars of Jehovah speaks of Vahab in Sapha in the valleys of Arnon. Here's a whole bunch of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 20, 10 through 15. If you approach a city to fight against it, you should also announce to it terms of peace. If it gives a peaceful answer to you and opens up to you, all the people found there will be yours for forced labor, and they will serve you. But if it refuses to make peace with you, and instead goes to war with you, you should what's that word? Besiege. Besieged it? Video game. Ultimate Evil. Besieged it. And Jehovah your God will certainly give it into your hands, and you must strike down every male in it with the sword. However, the woman, the children, and livestock, and everything that is in the city, all its spoil, you may. My eyes keep wandering. I'm sorry. May plunder for yourself, and you will eat the spoil of your enemies, which Jehovah your God has given to you. That is what you will do to all. The cities very far away from you that are not of the cities of these nearby nations. Chapter, no, the same chapter, it's just verse 19 and 20. If you lay siege to a city in order to capture it, and you have been fighting against it for many days, you should not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. You may eat from them, but you should not cut them down, for should you besiege a tree of the field as you would a man, you may destroy only a tree that you know is not used for food. You may cut it down and build siege work against the city that is making war against you until it fails. Ugh. Sorry, guys. Chapter 21, verse 10 through 13. If you go to war against your enemies, and Jehovah your God defeats them for you, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, Wait, let's stop in 11. And you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you are attracted to her, and you want to take her as your wife. You may bring her into your house. She should then shave her head and tend to her nails. Hold on. And remove the clothing of her captivity and dwell in her house. She will weep for her father and her mother. Oh, father and mother a whole month, and afterwards you may have relations with her. You will become her husband, and she will become your wife. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, because that person left. It's just a lot to read today. Numbers chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. Take a census of the whole assembly of the Israelites individually, according to their families, according to their potential houses, according to the count of the names of all the males. You and Aaron, I lost my place. You and Aaron are to register by their companies all those from 20 years old and up who can serve in the army in Israel. So they're doing a census to probably see who can, go into the army, right? Sorry, my eyes are going. Trying to switch eye sockets. See, there's more. Too much. Deuteronomy chapter 20, verses 5 and 6. The officers should tell the people who has built a new house and has not in a I don't know that word. I don't. I did not mean to do that. Inaugurate. Inaugurate. Oh. Okay, let's start over. The officers too should tell the people who has built a new house and has not inaugurated it. Let him return to his house, otherwise he may die in the battle, and another man will inaugurate it. See? And who has planted a vineyard and not begun to use it. Let him go and return to his house, otherwise He may die in the battle, and another man would begin to use it. Oh, yeah. Verse 8 of the same thing, chapter 20 of the Deuteronomy. The officers should also ask the people who is fearful and faint-hearted. He should return to his house so that he may not cause his brothers to lose heart as he has. Now, chapter 24, verse 5. When a man is newly married, I was about to mention this, he should not serve in the army or be given any other duties. He should remain except for 1 year and stay at home and bring joy to his wife for 1 year. Then he can go with the army, I'm guessing. Well, we're getting close. Well, we have a break in my mouth because Leviticus chapter 18, we got to read the whole thing. Should I read the whole thing? There's one person back. They'll probably say, please don't. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 6 and 7. These words that I am commanding you today must be on your heart. And you must inculcate them in your sons, and speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk on the road, and when you lie down, and when you get up. Okay. Leviticus chapter 18. Do you think I can read it? Oh, come on. Why does people keep leaving? I'm going to try it. Jehovah continued to speak to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites and say to them, I am Jehovah your God. You must not behave as they do in the land of Egypt. Do what they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you, and you must not walk in their statutes. You should carry out my judicial decisions, and you should keep my statutes and walk in them. I am Jehovah your God. You must keep my statutes and my judicial decisions. Anyone who does so will live by means of them. I am Jehovah. No man among you should approach any of his close relatives to have sexual relations. I am Jehovah. You must not have sexual relations with your father, and you must not have sexual relations with your mother. She is your mother, and you must not have sexual relations with her. You must not have sexual relations with your father's wife. It is exposing your father to shame. You must not have sexual relations with your sister, either the daughter of your father or the daughter of your mother, whether she is born in the same household or born outside of it. You must not have sexual relations with the daughter of your son or the daughter of your daughter, because they are your own nakedness. You must not have sexual relations with the daughter of your father's wife, the offspring of your father, because she is your sister. You must not have sexual, Alright, Michelle. You must not have sexual relations with your father's sister. She is your father's blood relative. You must not have sexual relations with your mother's sister, because she is your mother's blood relative. You must not expose your father's brother to shame by having sexual relations with his wife. She is your aunt. You must not have sexual relations with your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife, and you must not have relations with her. You must not have well, I can't have trouble with saying that word. Sexual relations with your brother's wife, because it is exposing your brothers to shame. You must not have sexual relations with a woman and her daughter. You must not take the daughter of her son and the daughter of her daughter in order to have relations. They are her close relatives. It is an obscene act. Yeah, it is. You must not take a woman in addition to her sister as a rival wife and have sexual relations with her while her sister is alive. You must not approach a woman during her menstrual impurity to have sexual relations with her. You must not have sexual intercourse with the wife of your fellow man, making yourself unclean. You must hold on. Break time. Oh, my eyes. Oh, my eyes saying, what are you doing to me? You must not allow any of your offspring to be offered to Molech. You must not profane the name of your God in that way. I am Jehovah. You must not lie down with the male in the same way that you lie down with the woman. It is a detestable act. A man must not have sexual intercourse with an animal to become unclean by it. Nor should a woman offer herself to an animal to have intercourse with it. It is a violation of what is normal. Do not make yourselves unclean by any of these things, for it is by all these things that the nations that I am driving out from before you have made themselves unclean. Therefore, the land is unclean, and I will bring punishment on it for its error, and the land will vomit its inhabitants out. So don't do that, right? But you yourselves must keep my statutes and my judicial decisions, and you must not do any of these detestable things, whether a nation or a foreigner who is residing among you. For all these detestable things were done by the men who lived in the land before you, and now the land is unclean. Then the land will not have to vomit you out for defiling it in the same way. That it will vomit out the nations that were before you. If anyone does any of these detestable things, all those doing them must be cut off from among their people. You must keep your obligation to me by not practicing any of the detestable customs that were carried on before you, so that you wait, that were carried out before you, so that you do not make yourselves unclean by them. I, Jehovah, I am Jehovah your God. Oh, I remember back on Saturdays was recap day. To every passage, I will be reading that. And I did that until one day it took 4 hours. And my dad says, "You're not doing your recap." Did you recap yet? But no. I told him I'm taking a half-hour break. Yep, that took 4 hours that day. He says, "Why don't you figure out a different way of doing it? Or just don't do the recap. I don't think you need to." This one person liked it, but since it's lengthy, she does it all over the course of the week. So every 2 days. I'm like, well, that's good. Ten. 10 to go. Hold on, my left hand's sleeping. I was leaning on it. But there's no more chapters to read. Exodus chapter 20, verse 14. You must not commit adultery. And that's just simple. Don't. You have vows that you do. If you follow Jehovah, do it. Don't commit adultery. That's it. They should bring that back as a law that you go to jail for. Chapter 22, verses 22 through 24. You must not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you afflict them at all, so that he cries out to me, I will unfailingly, unfailing, what? That's a word. Unfailingly hear his outcry. And my anger will blaze, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives will become widows, and your children will be fatherless. Deuteronomy chapter 21, 15 through 17. If a man has two wives, and he loves one more than the other, and both have borne sons to him, in the firstborn son belongs to the unloved one. No. On the day that he gives his inheritance to his sons, he will not be allowed to treat the son of the loved one as his firstborn at the expense of the son of the unloved one, the firstborn. He should recognize as the firstborn the unloved one's son. By giving him the double portion of everything he has, for that one is the beginning of his procreative power. The right of the firstborn's position belongs to him. I'm going to put some eye drops in my eyes. Okay. Just give me one moment, guys. Okay. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13. When anyone replies to a matter before he hears the facts, it is foolish and humiliating. You gotta hear everything before you react. Because sometimes some things in the past was acted on before they heard me say everything. And that's how people get angry at people. Well, you said this. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't let me finish. Gotta let the people finish talking, okay? Just hear them out. Oh, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Then I'll sing hallelujah. Genesis, sorry, Jova. I'll read this all day if you want me to. Because I wouldn't. I did that one day. One day I was just not having it, going live. My anxiety was high. I went to Genesis and just read it, even though I could not say those words, the words of the people. I think I read the whole chapter that day, the whole book, or a good portion of it. I can't remember. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Then Jehovah God said, "It is not good for the man to continue to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him as a complement of him." Now, the same book, same chapter, but verses 20 through 24. So the man named all the domestic animals and the flying creatures of the heavens and every wild animal of the field, but the man there was no helper as a complement of him. So Jehovah God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, He took one of his ribs and then closed up the flesh over its place. And Jehovah God built the rib that he had taken from the man into a woman, and he brought her to the man. Then the man said, This is at this is at last bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. This one will be called woman, because from man she was taken. That is why a man will leave his father and his mother, and he will stick to his wife, and they will become one flesh. So, girls out there, when you say you can, um, will we do good with men not here? No, no. If it wasn't for men, a man, we wouldn't be here. Think of it. We came from Adam. Exodus chapter 32, verse 9. Jehovah went on to say to Moses, I have seen that this isn't. What? That's not what I meant. What does that say? Okay. Obstinate. Obstinate. Stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or chosen course of action. This, I can think about some people like that. I'm sorry. Obst- uh, then. Exodus chapter 32, verse 9. I'm reading it again. I'm starting over. Jehovah went on to say to Moses, I have seen that this is an obstinate people. Deuteronomy, once again. We did a lot of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 1 through 4. If a man marries a woman, but she does not please him because he found something indecent about her, he must write out a certificate of divorce for her, hand it to her, and dismiss her from his house. After she leaves the house, she may go and become another man's wife. If the second man hates her and writes out a certificate of divorce for her, hands it to her, and dismisses her from his house, or if the second man who marries her should die, her first husband who dismissed her will not be allowed to take her back again as his wife after she has been defiled, for that is something detestable to Jehovah. You must not bring sin into the land that Jehovah your God is giving you as an inheritance. Last, but certainly not least, Matthew chapter 19, verse 8. He said to them, out of regard for your hard heart, Hardness. Oh, pardon. Why couldn't I just break it down? He said to them, out of regard for your hard-heartedness, Moses made the concession to you of divorcing your wives, but that has not been the case from the beginning. And that is it for today. I'll be live momentarily. Not long, but about an hour, because it's just about 9 right now. I said, oh, we'll be done by 8:30. Nope. What was that? A whole hour of me reading and my eyes wandering and my eyes hurting, and I put the eye drops in, and they actually it stung a little bit. That's how dry they were. So I put those eye drops in. My eyes like rejuvenated. It's like when they back some people live in the country, so they dry a lot of stuff like food, and they bring it back they just soak it in water. Like, oh, when they freeze dry it, you put that stuff in water and it goes back to the original, what it originally was. All right, so that's going to be it. Love, don't judge. Peace out.